Okay, good. So um, these are the things that we are going to talk about as part of DevOps, and it's going to be high level. DevOps and its importance, DevOps life cycle, Puppet introduction. Again, that is for more of a DevOps, core DevOps skill set to automate, some of the configs. So we will probably skip that Puppet part. In place of that, I will walk you through the build and release process and what are the tools and technologies that we apply. But again, kind of very high level, dev and ops roles. As a developer, you develop the application, and while developing the application, you try different methods, different technologies. As an ops, you build, deploy, and release the application. That's that's our responsibility as operations. And we will be focusing more on the build and deploy and release process, learning more on that part. But overall ops roles, build, deploy, and release. You are also responsible for performance and availability of the applications. You also create or enhance the existing services. Now, what is DevOps? So DevOps is nothing but a mindset that enables communication between dev roles and operations roles. So as of now, in most of the companies, what happens dev and operations role, or dev and build and release roles are two different roles, and they do not work with each other. And then it creates a siloed environment and creates, bigger problem. Now, what DevOps says is that we need to actually work together, dev teams and build and release or ops team. We need to actually work really together, and we need to have communication, collaboration, and integration between these two teams. Why? Again, because in today's world, there is a need for faster, development, faster deployment, faster delivery, and again, of course, faster release process. As a developer, if I develop a new application, I should be able to quickly deploy or release the application to the end user. So that's the need of of today's world. Moving on to the next one. So this is how the overall software development cycle works. As a dev, what you do, you gather the requirement from customers that here are the things that you need to work on. You work on that, and then dev and testing team, they work again together. Dev team develops the application, and testing team actually tests that particular application to ensure that everything is going to work fine or not. And then operations team ensures that the application is built and deployed or released to the end user. Hey, guys, I hear some background noise. So if you're not talking, can you go on mute, please? Thank you. Moving on to the next one. So DevOps as a solution. As I said, as an organization, we have a goal to achieve business goals, and we have different teams working together. So you have a software development team who is responsible for developing the application, and you have an operations team ensuring that your application is up and running all the time to end users. And of course, as an ops team, you have a responsibility of having the automated build, have an automated release or deployment process, and that's the core responsibility of the DevOps. Here is the life cycle of DevOps. So on the left-hand side in the top, you see the continuous integration, and you have the version control system here. Again, this part is very important for build and release engineers, where you actually automate this portion where the moment you have a new code in your version control system, you can actually release the product automatically to your production environment, which will be consumed by your end users. This is about DevOps lifecycle. So you provision the host here. So the first column, it talks about that you buy all these hardware, right? Then what you do, you configure the services on those hardware, and finally you integrate all these together so that it becomes a service which can run on this, the hardware that you have procured. Here are some of the tools that we use as DevOps. So we use Cobbler, Foreman, and Crowbar for the infrastructure automation. Like, if you have to have all the servers, network, everything deployed, you use these kind of automations to do that. You have config management tool for Puppet, Salt, or Chef. Similarly, for continuous integration and deployment, which is the core responsibility of build and release engineers, is to have these tools use Jenkins, SVN, Git, Perforce, and so on. And for DevOps, it's like having the monitoring tools, Nagios, New Relic, and all that to monitor the application to ensure that application is up and running all the time. Here are some of the other tools like Git, CVS, and version that we talked about. Software config management, which is Perforce, ClearCase, and all that. And that covers pretty much about the overall DevOps. And here are some of the challenges that we have as of today. Like it's a cultural mindset that we need to have, that we need to work together as a DevOps organization between Dev, QA, and operations. And operations, as I said, it covers build and release, ensuring that the application is up and running in the production all the time, more of a site reliability engineering role. So that covers overall DevOps, but again, build and release is the core of DevOps responsibility. Sounds good. Any questions that I can answer for you guys? I'm assuming no, but some really music, noise, and all that. So as I said, if you can go on mute if you're not talking, that will be helpful. Okay, good. If there are no questions, I'm going to now talk about this build and release process.
No questions.
Okay. Okay, so build and release process. As an organization or as a dev team, what you do is you work on the product or the application to develop that product. You need some kind of revision control or the version control system, which is also known as source control. And that's the process of managing and tracking the changes in the application, changes in the document, changes in the config file. All that you can track it and have it centrally located. It's a repository of files where you have all the source code, all the documentation, all the config files located in a central place. It helps actually large projects. If you're working on something like, say, Facebook kind of application.
I know. Seriously. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hey guys, I'm hearing a lot of background noise.
जो कुछ भी है मैंने कल उनको बता दिया है कि मुझे ऐसा लीव चाहिए, तो मैंने बोला ऑलरेडी 2 लड़कियां वही दिन पे हॉलीडे ले रहे हैं और मैं कैसे ऐसे जाने दे सकती हूँ, मुझे जरूरत है ना।
Who's that?
Yeah, so I'm hearing some background noise. People are talking over the phone, it seems. So as I said, if you're not talking, can you go on mute so that thank you. Where were we? So we talked about that version control or revision control is a repository of files. It helps the large projects from going out of control by letting individual programmers, basically developers, writers, or project managers undertake a project from various angles without getting in each other's way and without doing damage that cannot be undone. So it's a, just to summarize, this is nothing but the central repository system where you have all the changes tracked into a central system. Some of the popular, very popular tools that we have, Git is the one, which is the latest one, and most of the companies are moving towards Git and using Git for the central revision control or the source control system. There are other tools like Perforce, SVN, and so on, which have been around for many years now. But Git is the latest one, which has gained a lot of popularity. So we will be using Git for our version control system, and we will, I will show you how you can, manage that. Now, as a source code, tree. Now think about this particular, picture that you see, where you have the baseline application, and then you have different version available, right? You have version 1, and then you have a revision version available, which is 1.1. Similarly, you have the main version 2, and then you have revision version 2.1, and so on, right? And with the help of, again, Git as the revision control system, you can actually manage all of this, and I'll show you how to manage that. Talking about revision control, so this particular slide talks about SVN, which is another version control system, but it works in pretty much similar way for other revision control as well. Now, if you see in this case, what's happening is you have 3 developers working on a product. All of them are checking in their code to SVN, which is your version control system. And from SVN, you create the build, which first goes to staging for testing. Once it is tested and you are satisfied with all the outcomes or outputs, then you move the code to production, which is the live environment, right? So this is again the life cycle that happens within the build and release process. Again, why revision control? Why do we need to have version or revision control? So it is very important for due diligence. You ensure that all the changes are tracked or are centrally located. It is very essential for any form of distributed and collaborative development. Now, do any of you know what is distributed development?
No, sir.
No.
No.
Okay, so now suppose all 4 of you, right? So we have Vikas, we have Priyanka, we have Naveen, and we have Raghu. All 4 of you are in 4 development. Suppose you work for, say, a company called Facebook. Now, Vikas is taking care of, say, for example, the login, developing the login functionality for Facebook. Priyanka is, say, working on, say, maybe the photo upload for a photo upload function that we have for Facebook. Naveen is working on, say, having the like button that you have, or the functionality of the like button that you have on Facebook, and so on, right? Now, if you see in this case, this team is really distributed and located across different locations. Now, if you have a version control system or revision control system, you can actually manage the source code or the changes into a central location, and you don't need to worry about what Naveen worked on, what Priyanka worked on, and so on, right? Because it is centrally located with the help of multiple tools that you have. Now, in a large organization where there are many developers working on a project, what happens is the same code, working on the same code, it is required to make sure that they maintain the best working code. So that means first you develop the code, and then you push the working code actually to your revision control system. So it is essential. Again, revision control helps you achieve that. Now, every change made to the source code must be tracked. Like, who made the change? Why did we make that particular change? So now, suppose, say, Priyanka is working on, say, login function of Facebook, and if her team decides to have, so as of now, if you see Facebook, when you try and go and try to log in as a user, you have both username and password. You have it in the same row. Now, if Priyanka's team decides to have username and password entered in 2 different rows, they decide to make that change. Now, again, revision control helps you track that, like who made the change. So in this case, it will they will have a comment also somewhere recorded that this particular team, Priyanka's team, decided to make the change on so and so date. Why did we make the change? Because of course, for some reason, maybe for better UI experience and all that. So revision control again actually helps you track all the changes, different types of changes. You can even find out when this particular change was made and so on. Moving on to the last slide, and again, it's going to be last slide for sure. And after that, I'll give you a demo where you can. It will be more of a logging into the system and all that. Now, primarily we talk about two major version control system, SVN, which used to be very, very popular. And as I said, now we are moving towards Git, and most of the companies are moving towards Git. So SVN, which is also known as Subversion, is an open source version control system. Git is also open source. So SVN was founded in 2000 by a company called CollabNet, and later Apache acquired that company, and so now SVN is a Apache Foundation project or application. SVN employs of atomic operations that prevents corruption of the database. Now again, we'll talk about it later, but SVN has some concept which prevents the corruption of the database, and database in this case is nothing but database of your repository system. SVN does not use peer-to-peer model. Now in case of Git is a distributed version control system. Now we just talked about distributed development team, right, where you are located in different locations working on the same product and so on. It is designed and developed by someone called Linus Torvalds. Now, do any of you know who this guy is? Again, a very famous personality. But do any of you know who is Linus Torvalds?
No.
Okay. Others? Never heard about?
He's an American software engineer or something.
It is?
He's a software engineer, I mean, for the Finnish American software engineer. I mean, who developed the Linux kernel or something.
Yes, very good. So Linus Torvalds developed the Linux kernel. The Linux that you use today or is very popular today, this guy wrote that operating system. Okay, now he wrote this Git, or he in fact designed the Git version control system, and which is what we will be using it. Git supports rapid branching and merging. Again, we will talk about what is branching and merging, but think about a situation like, suppose you have Windows 8, right? What happens, like there are maybe some bugs that they discovered, and now they need to fix it. At the same time, there is another team who is working on, say, Windows 9 now. What they will do is they will take the base version of Windows 8. They will create two branches. One branch will be used for all the bug fixes, and second branch that they will create will be used for, first of course, bug fixes, but adding new features, new enhancements for next version, which is Windows 9. And this is called branching. Just like tree, you have multiple branches. Similarly, in your source code control system, you have multiple branches. And again, we will practice that when we do the Git exercise. Merging is basically, once you make the change, you merge all your changes to a central place, which is called merging. So Git includes specific tools for visualizing and navigating. You have, again, UI, and you have command line tools available for navigating your source code. You have full history tree that can be viewed offline. So you have the history tree available offline mode. You have, using Git, you can have the entire source code in your local system, which you can see it offline. You don't need to be connected to the internet. It is a distributed and uses peer-to-peer model. Distributed, again, I spoke about earlier, and how it is helpful today. Now, any questions? This was, as I said, more of a theoretical, but any questions that I can answer?
No.
Okay, very good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an AWS Linux instance for you guys. And again, the model that I follow for the training program is I have, I'll let you guys share your screen, and then I guide you with a step-by-step process, and then others can see it. And again, we will take rotation. So today, for example, we may have maybe Raghavendra or Naveen or Priyanka sharing their screen, and doing the installation and executing some of the commands. Some other day, some other person will take the the control and will do that. And of course, all of us will be watching that, and I will be guiding you through that. And in case you are stuck, if you need some clarification, we can of course give the control to some other participant to share their screen and do the installation and troubleshooting. Sounds good so far?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, can you type your email ID here, because I need to send you a key which will be used to connect to the machine, the host that I'm going to create. So can you type your email ID in this chat box? Okay, I have it from Raghavendra, Vikas, and Priyanka. How about Naveen? Okay, good. So I have all of your Gmail ID. Raghavendra, I hope it is Gmail and not.
Yeah.
I guess, but just wanted to ensure. Okay, so let me quickly log into my AWS, and I'll just share my screen in a moment. But as I said, I'm going to create an AWS instance for you guys, and that will be used for the training purpose throughout the build and release training program. So just give me another couple of minutes, and I should be ready. So my AWS instance is created, and I'm going to send you the key, and I will also ask one of you to share your screen so that we can all see it, how to log into this Linux machine. But let me first share the key which is needed. And I'm assuming all of you are on Windows. Is that the case?
No,
Yeah.
I'm on the Mac.
iPad, sir.
Okay, by the way, we need either Windows or Mac. iPad, again, you cannot install any program. So who is on iPad, you said?
Naveen, sir.
Okay, so Naveen, going forward, if you can use your, either Windows or Mac, whatever you have, that will be helpful. And Priyanka, I heard you're on Mac, right?
Yes.
Okay, so on Mac, it is much simpler, by the way. So give me another 1 minute or so. I'm trying to send you the key file, which will be used for logging into the Unix machine that I created for you guys. Okay. Okay, so I'm sending a common email to all of you. I hope you don't mind sending a common email. Okay. Now, who wants to share their screen? I just sent an email. Who wants to share their screen? Come on.
I'm ready.
Okay.